Hi, so today was supposed to be a Plural 101 video, but we are not doing that on account of me feeling like trash. Instead, you're getting a little rambly video about plural discourse because my tummy hurts and it's filling me with rage or whatever. Sorry if I have a lisp, I got new fangs. So, the title of this video, Sysmeds are not the enemy. Let us explain that. I mean, explaining the title is what a video is, but whatever, you get it. I'd also like to ask you to put off your assumptions of my personal stance on the matter for a minute. Lately, discourse over system origin and disordered status has been fortunately dying down, but that discourse has been around forever and has been extremely vicious. In this video, we are also focusing on the discourse within the plural community and not including people who don't identify as plural here. To summarize it, there's primarily two intra-community sides. On one side, we have people who believe plurality is only caused by trauma, and that plurality exists only in the context of DID, PDID, and OSDD1. On the other side, we have people who believe plurality can come from anywhere and is not always disordered. That's a massive generalization, but if I dissected it, this video would be an hour long and much more depressing. People on the pluralities caused by trauma side are often referred to as Sysmeds, short for system medicalists. This term comes from the fact that side is very focused on a pathologized view of plurality and believes that it is, to some extent, a strictly medical experience. It also resembles the term transmed, a term in some ancient trans community discourse for people who believe transness could not exist without a specific disorder. These people will often refer to themselves as anti-endo. People on the other side of the debate don't really have a cohesive name, but usually they'll call themselves inclusionists. Sysmeds might call them endos or pro-endos, though this isn't fully accurate. This discourse is currently most concentrated on Tumblr and Twitter. Sysmeds have a lot of animosity for plurals who don't fit their view of plurality, and many inclusionists will see them as, well, the enemy. They think that they're malicious, always acting in bad faith, not worth listening to, and deserving of active scorn. This is not true. Now, to be completely clear, this isn't me saying you should agree with Sysmeds. This isn't saying that you have to listen to someone telling you your experiences aren't real. This isn't me both sidesing. What I'm saying is treating Sysmeds like their enemies is wrong. To start with, most Sysmeds are extremely young, and most are newly discovered systems, as in it's been less than 2 years. All of them are traumatized, or believe they are traumatized, and most have experienced childhood or peer abuse. Many of them, on account of being very young, will still be in their original trauma environments, not to mention how many are 14 to 16, which, as someone who was once 14 to 16 myself, is absolutely miserable. None of these make someone less able to be right about things, and they don't excuse harmful behavior, but all of them make you feel extremely vulnerable, extremely persecuted, and extremely insecure. They make you feel a need to be valid and to protect yourself from invalidation and people who challenge what makes you feel valid. Most Sysmeds were in the dark about their plurality and struggles before learning about DID, and most were entirely alone in their experiences before joining medicalist communities. Medicalist communities tell you what's wrong. They tell you why you're suffering. They usually give you at least some genuinely helpful advice and language. And they tell you what makes others invalid, what makes you more valid than them. They tell you that their invalidity is a threat or an attack. They tell you that these people are invalidating your experiences in trauma and that they're watering it down and making a mockery of it. They tell you who your enemy is, who you can take out your fear and pain and anger on. This enemy is also when you can fight. There's people you can debate and yell at and hurt. You don't have to fight the world, the concept of ableism, massive organizations. You just have to fight some people online. And that's something you have the power to do. It's probably one of the very few things in your life that you have the power to change. And when you fight them, they fight back. They call you things that you hear as insults, so that maybe they mean as insults too. You hear secondhand from the medicalists who made you feel valid and safe that these people are doing things that, if real, are unforgivable. You don't have a reason to fact check that much because you don't think the medicalists lie about stuff like this. Then maybe you think the fighting isn't worth it, or you wonder why the endos think what they do. Maybe you realize you have traits that your side says are invalid and bad. And maybe you want to try asking or looking, and you're probably young and suffering and traumatized and afraid of these people. You probably hate or you hated these people. If these people lash out at you, say no one owes you an explanation, corner you, dogpile you, insult you, then everything you thought about them seems like it's proven to you. And you're in a vulnerable space where that rejection really hurts. The thing is, no one owes people invalidating them or repeating harmful rhetoric an explanation or a lesson. But you don't de-radicalize people by yelling at them. If you want to change how people think, you're going to have to give them energy that they don't have a right to, or at least give them kindness and direct them to someone with the energy and willingness to explain and talk. Being inclusive of all plurals means being inclusive of the ones who are exclusive. You don't have to include them in your space. Please avoid including them in spaces where they can cause harm. But if your activism excludes people in your community who are wrong or mean, your activism isn't good enough. Sysmeds are plural, and this issue is very personal for them. They're trauma survivors, they're often very young, they're almost always actively suffering, and seeing people who claim to experience what they do without suffering often hurts a lot. They have a huge stake in this, and many of them are playing it safe, trying as hard as they can to make this world safer and better. They are almost always not being intentionally unfair. I don't care if they've earned or deserve kindness and explanations. I don't care if it's not your job to be nice. I don't care if your aggression is justified. It probably is. If you want to fix our community, you have to be respectful when someone asks questions. You have to direct them to someone or somewhere that they can learn from. You don't have to answer super personal questions or tolerate hateful stuff. But if someone's trying to learn, even if it's only kind of in good faith, that chance needs to be taken. To be clear though, this video is about plural system medicalists. If you're talking to a singlet, be as rude as you like, whatever. We are talking specifically about intra-community discussions. People who are not in our community, who choose to police our community, are definitely not entitled to our kindness, and they can change their minds on their own because their stake in this is far less personal than ours. And frankly, this applies to a lot of discourses, trans discourse, pretty much any exclusionary rhetoric. Anyway, just be kind, be kinder if you can. And thank you for watching the video. If you like the video, comment, subscribe, ring the bell. We have our Discord server linked down below, as well as other personal social media links. As a more personal update, we've had a drop in our cognitive functioning, which should not prevent us from making videos, but does affect our ability to get them out on time and do them quickly. So we apologize for the 2-week wait, but we're going to be trying to get back on track with our schedule, and we'll see how that goes. Thank you so much, and see you around.